So today I'm going to show you this amazing feature in Resolume. It's called the mask mode. It's one of my favorite features because I can take just two clips. Let's turn off the mask for now. So these are two clips that we are going to use extensively today. This one and this one. It's a yantra, and you can download it for free. And follow me when I create this tutorial. And we're going to have a lot of fun because what we can do is quite easily add a mask to above our layer 4 and slice everything and create some amazing compositions. And I can color the same look with different colors and change masks and really create beautiful compositions. And this is, I'm using now only these two clips for now, and I'm going to show you how we can create all kinds of masks, like this mask, which is a little bit, let's call it actual, a corona virus clip that I created and gave you for free. And we can easily create out of any clip that has alpha, we can create masks. I'm going to show you how to create this amazing text, and you see that is audio reactive to the music. Get some music. That's really nice. We can take any logo that you want to use and use it as a mask. And if your promoter comes to you and says, I want to see my logo on the screens, you have let's call it a beautiful way to show his logo subliminally, or not so much in the face of the people. And this is a nice trick to use it. So we got a lot of masks here that are just waiting for us. And I'm going to show you today how to create these blobs. It's a new source in Resolume 7, really beautiful one. I'm going to show you, this is another source. You can even go to full screen once in a while. So this is another one that is made from the Lines Scape, and I really like those angular masks, and I mostly like it when part of the clip is more subtle, more like black and white. We can have this instead, and we can have really colorful craziness of a background. So I'm still using the same two clips. I hope that Nadia has given you the links for it, because you can download them and unzip them, and in case you are in the mood, join me, open Resolume on your other screen, and let's make some visuals together. So this is the angular look. I got, when I'm creating visuals, I created a few other materials. So for instance, this is a different material, and this material is all of these looks are created in Element 3D inside of After Effects, and it's really easy to create one object and then to replace its textures, and this is another texture, and I really like this mask feature. I think it's awesome. It can help us create more of the motion graphics styles, and really bring more flair to our shows. So these were the masks that I'm going to show today. I want to show you another interesting use of the mask, and for this I'm going to get a mask that is a kind of a torch. So just imagine this kind of a thing of a spotlight roaming on your screen. Everything is black all over the place, and you change your visuals inside, and you just tease the audience. You tease them, and you tease them. You can have faster spotlights. You can have a different kind of a mask, and this is made from a gradient, so it's more soft. And when the moment comes, you flash everything, and you start your show with full powerness. Alrighty, so let me back up for a minute. I want to tell you some things about this live stream. So when we had the interview with Resolume, they told us, listen guys, this COVID-19 situation has hit everybody in the industry, and people are at home. We want to contribute, we want to give them back, and we want you to come and make a live stream. And I said, wow, this is a very, very honorable thing for me to come and show you some tricks, cheer you up in this very, how shall we call it, a very interesting time when we are at home and no shows. And no shows for us, it's like fish outside the water. So I just want to tell you that it may look or may seem a little bit bad sometimes. It may look a little bit like there's no hope, and I admit I had my bad days also, and anxiety about my parents and about income, and the only thing that I think we should concentrate now is the moment that we come back to performing, because there is a tendency to try to obliviate ourselves, watch Netflix, game all day, and just say that, okay, this is it, this is how it is, and this is what we can do. But maybe we can't be in control of our of the outside, but we can be in control of ourselves. And I say this time is wonderful for us to get better at VJing, get better at content creation, learn new skills, new tricks, and be back to performing full power. And I just want you to imagine the day that you are on the event, and just ask yourself, what will you say? You know, will you say, I was anxious, I watched Netflix, and it was a wasted time? I will say, yes, I am ready for it. I prepared. I got better in this COVID time, and this was an opportunity. So this is how I'm looking at it, and this is how I want you to look at it. And that's it. Without further ado, I think we can start. I hope you are pumped up, because I'm pumped up, guys. And we have 200 people live that are enthusiastic about visuals, and it really excites me that you are into it. So where should we start? Let me start by explaining. Let's think about it. So the first thing I want to remind you that we have these clips for you to download, so you can download and follow me as I go. And let's see. First, I want to tell you about the layout. Maybe it can look a little bit weird, the layout that I'm using, but it's really simple to just take and push your I don't know, clip or effects or sources, all of these windows. It's really interesting and nice to use, because it gives you flexibility to prepare for shows in one layout and to have your shows in a different layout. So if you want to use the layouts, you have them here lined up for you, and I will go now back to this Resolume layout that I prepared, and here we are back at where we were. It's a really useful way to look at things. So this is the first thing I wanted to tell you. Now I'm going to open a new deck, to take a new deck, and then we will go over the masks. So if you are like me and you are opening a new deck and you have the writer's block of a new page, know that there is a really nice feature that you can have your clips persistent, and we all know that persistency is very important in life. So just mark the clips that you want, and then you can persist them. So right now, if I'm going to my other deck, looky who is waiting here, that's really nice. And let's turn off the mask mode for a minute, and it's here. Let's disable it, and let's go over these masks and get the hang of what are we actually using here as masks. So all of the masks that you see here are generated inside Resolume with different sources and solids and effects. And the next one is really one of my favorites. I'm using here just a font, crazy font, and I'm getting it reactive on the music, and it can be a really nice mask that is made just inside Resolume. And this is a very interesting way to generate shapes, I think. So you see that all of my masks here are black and white, and then the white becomes the mask, and this is the Metaballs, or as I call it, the meatballs. And also a new source in Resolume 7, and this spiral, I was waiting it for some time, and I'm really glad it's here. And all of these are just masks just generated and and I'm using them as masks here. So just imagine the amount of masks you can make. It's inconceivable. It's inconceivable how many masks you can create with these sources. So let's bring it back into mask mode. We have two options, one below and all below. I'm going to use one below for now. And let's go here and copy these two clips that if you just came now, I want to tell you that you can download them, and Nadia should supply you with the links, direct links, so you just click them and it will download a zip to your computer, and you can unzip them and join me as I start to colorize them. I start to apply all kinds of effects for them, and I'm going to make them shine. This is our plan for the coming minutes. Let's see, what about the chat? Okay, I see the people are here and enthusiastic. So let me start. Let's start with this clip. So this clip is just a rippling of this yantra. As I said, it was made in Elements and After Effects, Element 3D inside After Effects. And Nadia is the one that made this artwork of the mandala, and I was the one that extruded and did the animation and the materials. And the first thing I want to do is show you, of course, how the mask is slicing and everything that below it will be transparent. So let's start. I like to use all kinds of effects, and I want to show you a really nice hack that I came with. I think it's really useful, and this hack is a way to filter your favorite effects. So let's close it, and we can see that we have a lot of effects open in Resolume, and that's something that is really good. I really like to, instead of gaming, just open Resolume and start playing with effects and amaze myself with the stuff that I can create. But sometimes, mostly when I am building decks, I use over and over the same clips, the same effects, and it can be handy to have them laid out and without me needing to scroll all the way down. So I don't think that's much of an important feature. That's why it's not available in Resolume. But what we do have now is this filtering. So you can search for, let's say, levels, and you click and you click, and only in the third letter you get it. So what I made is I created a way that I press the tilde key, and then I have all of these effects that I use constantly. I have them with me. I can just scroll down a little bit, scroll up a little bit, and I can just take them and apply them to my clips. It really eases my workflow. And let's start with adding a glow here. So in case you want to use this hack, so you can just put any effect that you want, and you can also configure it the way you want. This is using blur as a glow, a trick that I learned from Doc Optic. He's great, and you should watch all of his tutorials. And this is a trick I learned a long time ago, and I still remember it's from him. So you use add with opacity at 50%, and you configure your blur, and you have this beautiful glow. Let me show it to you on a full screen. So this is without, and this is with. Really shiny stuff, and I really like this effect. So if you are fine with your settings, you can just come to saving a preset and then save it, and then I called it glow with this tilde key. So because I have this character inside the effect, I can just click this character. It's not appearing in any other effect, and this is how I'm able to filter my my effects. So just save it as something with this tilde, and then when you come here and you press the tilde, you have these effects laid out for you. And of course you have all of the settings already inside the preset that you saved. And also you can take the original effect. You have these original effects, the default effects here, and these are configurations that I created and using constantly. So let's say that you have your favorite effects, but what if you have your favorite effects? You can just put two tilde keys. So you see I like the cloners, I use transform all the time, slide, and I'll show it to you later, but for now we can use this look of a screen. Right, so what is up with you guys at home? I'm continuing with my adding effects. I want to introduce you to another effect that I like. It's the Colorize. So when you apply Colorize, it just applies as default, but we can configure it to be as palette. And maybe we can show the link on the screen. Yeah, let me show you the links on the screen. If there is a problem to download them, let me just show it to you. I understand that the chat is not allowing us to get these links, so what we'll do is show them to you. Let me.
They will put it in description.
Okay, so Mark from Resolume is with us, and he will put these links in the description, and you can download them and join me. So let's talk about the palette. So the palette is a really nice option, and you have all kinds of this is the palette, and you have all kind of options that are pre-made for you. So I really like this clockwork orange. You can just invert it, and maybe usually this solves it. You can just add some contrast, and if this contrast doesn't work, you can get your levels. This is levels. I'm adding it to the clip, and looky, just adding a little bit of black gives this clip a really different look. Really nice. All right, so let me just show you now how we can create with only one clip. We can create masks. We don't need to have too many clips even. We can just apply different effects on the same clip. So let's say that now I'm getting this hue saturation. And applying it on my upper clip. I can always see a preview here on the right if I don't want to trigger it, and I can just change the color a little bit. And then let's see here, I can trigger both of these clips together and then add a mask. Alrighty, so what I just did is I colored these two clips. They are the same clips. Let's Control-Shift-T to get a visual representation of how they look. So right now I have two clips, and I can use the mask to create this look where I have two different colors, and this is all made with the same clip. Let's maybe refine this color to be more similar to the original. And the nice thing when you have two clips is that you can trigger them each one in a separate time. So you see what I just did? I just triggered each clip in a different time, but it's the same clip, right? So what I get is this kind of interesting thing when the mask is showing me different parts of the same clip, and is creating this a stepper thing, or a I hope you see it. Let me show it in full screen. So this is the same clip, but I'm using different timings on the clips to give it a little bit a more interesting look, and really add some flair to my existing clips. So that's one way to go about it. And let me show you now another trick. So these guys, they don't have to be, of course, one below the other, because we can just place it here. And now we can fill this space with all kinds of other effects, and we can have our plethora of effects here that we can switch between, and each effect that will activate will add to this the look of the lower clip. But what I want to show you first is that I was thinking the mask is really nice, but I really want to have these borders of the mask more defined. And I was thinking, how can I take the input or the output of this layer, the mask here, because of course I could copy all of these masks and put them here. Let's have this. Let's not have this, just a waste of time. I mean, you just plug the layer and there is no reason to do it. So I want to introduce you to a really nice source, and this is the video router. And if you don't know it yet, say hello to the video router. The video router is just a function that pulls each one of these layers. So you have to go inside the video router. These are the parameters, and then you just go in this layer determined, and you choose to put it in the mask. So right now this is our preview, and this is here pressed, so you see that I already having my mask here. And if I'll activate it, I will have this kind of an outline here, and it gives me a little bit more definition to the mask, and I really like the way it looks. But if you noticed, we got a new thing going on, and that is we have a black area now, because this is not an alpha. So what we can do to remedy this is to go back to the effects and get the auto mask and drop it here. And surprise, surprise, we got this beautiful mask going on. Now we have a little bit of a white line defining it. Let me show it to you on the... So this is with the mask and this is without it. And of course it's a stylish choice. You can choose whatever you like to do with it. But let's activate it again. And let me show now that I can add a glow to this mask as well. And now you see how it changed the way it looks, and it's even more defined. And let me show you again how it looks now. And I can also color it. Why not? We can just take, I don't know, let's take the orange, colorize, and we just colored it. And this is how it looks. I added this Colorize effect on top of the effect stack or in the bottom of the effect stack, and now everything is filtering and coloring my white mask that is pulling from here. So right now we have mask, it's orange because of the Colorize. It has an alpha because we have the auto mask. It has a blur because that's what I added, a glow I mean, and it's looking good. Let's try to see how it looks with different clips. Let me show it to you in full screen. I like it even more now. So that's a nice add-on that I think we can have to have the mask more defined, to have more volume to our composition. That's nice. We can now go to the lower layer. Maybe we can add an effect here. Let's take something crazy like the ripple maybe. So let's add a mellow ripple for now. This is a preset that I already saved, and let's put it here. And what it does, it moves the background in a very subtle way, and it adds more of a interest to the composition. And we can even go in the ripple and choose instead this gentle, which is not that gentle, but it's a really nice look. Let me show it to you again. Okay, so we got now a lot of things going on. Guys, we're still using only one clip. Okay, so this is the power of the mask mode, that we can add some more looks and more interest to existing content. And I had a very interesting experience about content. Maybe I can tell you the story later on. But content is king, and bringing more content and more looks to your show is one of the things that I think is more it's really important, because this is one of the things that really is important to change your show. And I know that I really suffered when I had my show, and I felt that I am playing the same clips. It was horrible. So this is a nice way to add some flair to your existing clips. Let's now move on and we can of course add some more effects here, but let's add a different, say again the same clip but a different material. So this is a material. This material is more of a stony-like. We can turn off this color here, and this is another thing that I really like, is to have black and white and color together. I think it's a really nice trick to you know, to define what's colorful and what not. And I have to admit that we VJs, we have a tendency to over colorize. I'm a sinner as well, but sometimes having a black and white look can really help defining the colors, because the absence of color is the absence of something is defining it. I will remember later what is exactly the sentence saying. Maybe in the chat you can remind me. Yeah, something about darkness is the absence of light, I think. Okay, so let's duplicate this layer as well, and I can also color this layer here, but what I want to do now is maybe close all of these effects here on this layer, and I want to start to add some interesting stuff that are another overlay on top of our existing clip. So let's let's first maybe go back to the original look, and maybe here on the Colorize, let's choose a different scheme, maybe the Liechtenstein, and it's a very nice scheme, and I like to add some hue to control exactly the colors that I want. So I'm adding a hue here, and maybe I just added it with a preset, so I can just go back to the default, and then I can use the hue rotate to find some interesting colors. Let's update the clip so we know who's who's and what's what's. And let's add some more effects here that we can trigger. So one interesting thing that I found can be the polka dots, and this is in a P usually. And let's add it to our composition. We can maybe change the mask. So we added some more interest with these generated dots that are generating from the clip itself. And this is nice, but I want to delay. I don't want them to be so close. I mean, I don't want them to be so, how should I say it, so connected, so obviously generated from this. And what I'm about to add now is delay RGB, but not delay RGB as you know it, delay all. So what we have here is a delay RGB with all the channels on one, and you see that right now it's not, you see it's like delaying the polka dots. I like it better than when it just sits on the on the clip itself. So in case you didn't see it because we were on full screen, I added the delay RGB from here, and instead the delay RGB that we all know, this guy, I just used to push all of them in a unanimity, and this is how I created another thing that is delayed. So that's nice. We start to have some interesting effects here. What else we can add? Maybe we can add these meta shapes. So let's say that we want to, instead these polka dots, we want to add this interesting crosses. Also gives it a little bit of a more interesting look, nice for I know it's a little bit childish maybe, but it's very colorful. Maybe with some really happy music, it can go well. And this is the way I'm adding here. I can add hue saturation. I can add a lot of effects here. I can also duplicate the effects, so I can trigger each one of them in a different layer and have happiness going on. Okay, I think this is my setup to show you how you can use the mask. Let's see if we have questions from you guys about this setup, and let's bring on the chat. Yes, we have the link in the description for these clips. Actually, guys, we could just post them with spaces, you know. Let's try to do it here in the chat because we are adventurous. So let me get this. Let me try. And you guys, you just need to remove the spaces maybe. Let's see if this one goes. Yeah. So the way to do it is to just copy this link and then maybe connect them together. This should work. This is the first loop, and this was a stone loop, and this is let's see if it will work. It seems like it worked. It's not a link, but you can copy it and then paste it to your browser, and then download these clips and have visual happiness. Alright, so you have the links now for these loops, and I hope you are in the mood. So tell me, guys, what do you think about these techniques? Let me have a sip of water, and the next part will be answering if you have any questions, answering your questions, and then we are going to go into the masks and see how we actually create all of these beautiful masks. Maybe we'll choose a few masks and get them into motion. And really, I want to say it again, it's really unbelievable how many masks you can create just with generative effects and sources inside Resolume. And of course, I will show you now that I can take any clip and just crush the levels of it and turn it to a mask if it has an alpha channel. Yeah, and I see that someone is asking how about the mask clips, and these are masks that are generated inside Resolume. You don't need to download them, but what I will do is thanks Chris. What you can do is what I will do is after this live is finished, I will get you this Resolume project. It's a Resolume 7 project with all of these masks that I'm showing you here that you can download. We'll get it to Resolume. They will put it on their blog, and you will be able to download. Yes, I see that Mark here on the Resolume chat says that we can create masks with the shaper and stuff, and this is what I'm about to show you next. And Openelia says, sorry, but can you show first step of adding mask and then controlling? All right, let's have a short rerun about the mask. So let's close all of these clips. This is really simple to use, and the way to activate the mask mode is to right click the mask, the layer, and then you have in the mask mode the options to have it disabled, one below or all below. So when I'm disabling it, these black and white clips, or let's call them sources, they are simply black and white masks. They're not masks yet, but they're just black and white textures. This is really nice. This is made with the Scape, and I'll show you later how to make it. And all of these are generated from sources and with effects and with solids or gradients. And as I mentioned, you will be able to download this project, and then you can just go inside and copy the clip, and then start closing each one of the effects, and you see that to see the way it builds. I hope it will help you to get more into this habit of gaming inside Resolume. So remember, you can just open Resolume and dive in. That's what I'm doing many of the days. I'm just like creating a new clip. This is our work process. You take a clip, and then you say, okay, nice, let's see what we can make from it. And you take it inside the Resolume, and you start to add effects and add cloners and move it with transform. And I made a couple of tutorials that are showing it. It's on our website or YouTube channel, and you can dive into it. If you are now on lockdown, I don't think there is any other better timing in the world than to sit and to hone Resolume and to hone your skills. And as I said, you will be rewarded when things are going back to normal, and they will go back to normal. And just use your time wisely, because we have one lifetime and it's really short. Just saying, okay? So I got carried away, I'm sorry. I have to show you now about the mask mode. Somebody asked about the mask mode, and this is what I'm going to show you now. So we already said that these are generated inside Resolume, and what we can do is go to the layer itself, and in each layer you have the same function. It's called mask mode, and I'm using here the mask mode one below. So when the mask will be triggered, it will mask. By the way, have you noticed about me choosing to do a mask mode tutorial in Corona time? This is something that is quite remarkable, I think. Mask mode, I hope, not I hope, but I know that everyone is in mask mode. I'm in mask mode when I leave my house. So this is what we're gathered here to learn, how to use your mask properly. So I got carried away again, I'm sorry. So we said that we are enabling the mask one below. So check it out. This mask is activated now, but you will not see it anymore because we have nothing below it. And if I'll trigger this clip, this mask will not cut it because it's far, far away down. We have to have this clip here in order for the mask to affect it, because we are one below only. And if I will use all below, it will be a different story for a different opera. So I hope the mask mode feature is more understood now. We can play with clips, change everything below this one below layer, and it will not be affected by the mask, and we are safe. Nothing is too much scary here. It's just Resolume, and the way to learn it is just to spend hours and hours trying things, trying to break things, trying to connect things, etc., etc. And this was the mask mode in repeat. I hope now it's more understood. Let me go now to our next part, and the next part is the part where I show you how the masks are made. So I want to, just before I do it, I want to, now that we understand how things are working here, I want to go back to our mask mode Real composition, and now you can understand more of what's going on here. I got all kinds of effects here, just for to add them to this lower mask. I got this router, video router, that is having this outline like we had before. Let's trigger some clips, and these clips, I'm sorry I cannot give it to you free, but the nice thing about it is that you can trigger 2 clips, and then let's use this coronavirus clip. So right now, let me show it in full screen. What's happening here is that we have this coronavirus outline, and it's masking my yantra, and the yantra has a different feel inside, but right now we have this someone look that is replacing it, because we're using the mask mode. And you see that let's put on the music a little bit. You see that the mask is triggered by the audio. So if you have an audio card, and you can or connect to your you connect to an audio feed, you can have your set more reactive, and I'll show you now soon how it's made. So let's check out a little bit more of these looks here that I created. So remember this guy, and we can, that's me using the black and white again, and we can have something that is more let me show you a clean look of these clips. So we got this one, and we got this one, the same one, and we got this one. So as I mentioned before, once you create content and you have all these objects laid out for you, it's really nice to just export a couple of more clips. And this is with the wireframe look. I really like to use the mask when it, you know, these pointy arrows. I think it works really well together. And we can, of course, change these masks and have all kinds of looks. Alrighty guys, so I showed you a little bit more behind the scenes. This is a scene that we already saw. Another mix that we can make, maybe I can trigger both. We said that I can trigger both of the clips together, or we can trigger different clips of the same kind. And this is really nice with this text together. Because of these hieroglyphs and the text, something is connecting there, and it's really important to maybe fit the masks to the content you're playing. Oh, I want to show you an interesting thing. Let's talk about having the masks. Let's talk about maybe mixing the masks and not having just one mask. Okay, so I want to show you now a feature that is simply the Autopilot. So let's say that I'd like to trigger my masks, or maybe to mix between two masks. Right now I have it on add here, but we can use different ways to trigger these masks. So let's say that I'm now going inside the layer itself and into the Autopilot. It's inside the layer. We have the composition and layer here. So when I click the layer, it shows me the controls for this layer. So I'm going inside the layer and I can trigger the Autopilot. So right now, whenever the clip is ending, it will change to the next mask. And this is a useful mode if you cannot control the masks or cannot be attentive to it. And I want to show you another thing that right now they are just mixing between them, but what we can do is choose here. The blend mode can be something like, let's say, time. I had something interesting here. Okay, so right now when a mask is ending, you have just a little bit of a bounce between the masks. And what I can create as well, let's say that I really like both of these masks, this one and this one. What I can create is kind of a ping pong between them. If I click the spiral and I will go inside here into the autopilot, and I will tell it no, don't be layer determined, but just when you end, play previous clip. So check out what happens now. It will not go here, it will go back to the rings beat. And when the rings beat ends, it goes back to this sucker. You see, sucker. This is the sucker, and this is a nice way to create a ping pong between two masks and have a little bit more interest. We can also change the duration of this transformation. So you can have it. Alright, so this was Autopilot, a nice way to automate some of your, let's say that let's choose a different one, maybe let's see what can fit together. So we can take both of these and tell it again, I'm doing again the same the same ping pong, just going to the landscape and telling it, buddy, you are going to end and then play the previous clip. And when I trigger this clip, it will end, it will go here, and then it will come back to this layer again, and we'll have a kind of a dissolve. These two clips are quite similar, they're made from the same source. So let me show it to you in a full screen. Okay, the first mask is running now, and this is the second mask. And when it ends, it goes back to the first mask, and this is a nice way to automate the masks and clear your hands to deal with other stuff. So another nice tip, tell me if it's understood or not and I can repeat it. Let's turn off this here. Let's turn off this autopilot. I'm turning it off, and I also am going inside and I'm telling it go back to be layer determined. So right now it will continue to the next when we have an autopilot, but if we're not having an autopilot, just will stay on the same clip. Alrighty, let me see if I have anything else to tell you before we are moving into how to create these sources. Okay, so let's close these visuals for now, and let's start understanding how on earth are we creating these masks. So which one of them should we start with, I wonder? Let's maybe go to this composition because we have more space here, and let me start with the simple ones. So let's take this and copy it here and close it. So this is one of the most simplest ways to create this black and white mask. and it's made actually with the lines source. So the way to do it is to go to the sources. Let's look for the lines. So we got them lines here, and we need to line them up. Let's get less of them here. There's something with the fuzziness of them, so let's cancel this. So right now we have 3 innocent lines here, and the way to make them go round is to add the polar Kaleido. Let's find it. So let's take this polar Kaleido and drop it here, and looky, we have just created this circular pattern with these lines. And if we see the original, you see that it has a kind of animation, and what's happening here is that we have the scale jumping and creating this bit look. You know, when you have the beat drop, you want to have something with beat, and this is a nice thing to have. And on other occasions, when the music is quiet, when you have the break, you can use masks that are more tranquil. So how do we go about to animate it? So let's add a this is one of my favorites, so I can just double click and get it here, and this is the transform. Usually I like to add a transform of my own because I can shut it down if I want. What I cannot do on the transform, the original transform, I can bypass it, and I can copy it to different clips, so that's useful for me to have. And let's try to animate it, huh? So you see that if I'm getting the scale up and down, it already shows signs of movement, but there is something here with the way that it's being cut when it's small. So the way to remedy this usually is inside the size of the source. So we have the lines here, and we can quite easily change it from this 1080p to, let's say, 4K. And it didn't happen, so I have to change the location of the transform and have this transform before this transform to make it happen. And now it will be more easier for me to animate it. So this is something that interesting that I created. Didn't mean to, but this is the nice thing about creating your sources, is that you can always find out more looks. This is an interesting look that we can maybe think about a way to animate it. Maybe we can animate this part. Let's add a mirror here. A mirror, a vertical mirror, and let's flip it, and let's see what happens. This can be an interesting look. It goes backward and forward, so we can go to the scale and then animate it. Let's choose the BPM sync for it, and let's limit it to the area that we want to have it. So somewhere around here. I'm limiting it here. And what I'm going to create now is a envelope. Let's choose one of the envelopes that we already have here. Let's choose 4 to the scale. And this is a mask that we just created. It's beaming, it's pumping. Let's put it back here and see how it looks. So this is the mask. We trigger this guy, we trigger a different guy, and we have an audio reactive mask that is masking our background. So this was supposed to be easier. It got a little bit complicated, but you know, doing things the right way is not always the right way, because you can find some mistakes and use them, and if you don't try, you cannot find them. So this was the first mask that I created with you together. Let's see if the chat, if you have any questions. What's going on in the chat, guys? I was doing some visuals, and a lot of craziness is going here. Ritish, yes, you will get this project, and this project will have the mask clips inside it, the mask sources, and you will be able to open this project and to one by one take these masks and disassemble them and try to copy them and apply different stuff and change the parameters. And this is the only way you will learn, because watching tutorials is really nice, but doing the work is the way you learn. It's called something about you know, when you do an action again and again, it becomes a gut thing for you. So this is the way to learn. You just have to put in the work. Watching tutorials is just the beginning, and putting in the work is what will get you to your next level as a VJ. Hours and hours of playing inside Resolume. Just take it as game, you know. Just say, I'm so lucky, I'm gaming now. I'm just, it's, I don't know, it's the nicest thing. I love it. I just love it. Okay, guys, you say thank you, excellent, thank you, gracias, thank you, guys. I'm really happy that you like this technique, and you can learn some new tricks in this lockdown mask effect with your mask on your face. Okay, Davey, in Resolume you can just load the compositions, so you can just add this composition that will give you. You can just click it and it will open this composition in your existing composition, and you will have a good time. All right, so what's going on, guys? Are you getting my tricks, getting the spiel out of what's going on here? I will now go and create the next mask. I hope that you are ready for it. You will have to pay close attention. I ask you to leave the chat for a minute, because I'm about to go now to create another mask. I'm going to use the sources, and if you pay close attention, you will be able to understand how am I using the sources to create masks. You guys say thank you, and I really appreciate it. Thank you, Nadia. Nadia?
Thank you.
We are full power. We are full power here, streaming to you from a little island in Southeast Asia. And I'm really happy that we can connect in these times and share our knowledge and push you forward in your visual journey. All right, so we are going on into another session, and let's go back to our user interface, and let's close it. Okay, and now let's create this linescape thing. So what do we have here? We have lines, and they are bouncing to the beat, and it's one of the masks that I like, and I think Nadia is a fan of this mask. And let me try to show you how you can create it. So in order to create generative content in Resolume, you need to use sources. In these sources, you have generators, you have the routing that I showed you earlier, and you have all kinds of other stuff, but we are going to use the generators, and each one of them is generating a different look or a different thing, and you will be amazed if you go into it. And Resolume are adding new effects all the time, new sources all the time. And I want to say thank you to Mark from Resolume at this moment, that I'm an avid viewer of Mark's quick tips. Awesome. How can you in 2 minutes, just like in the Matrix, you know, it's like in the Matrix when they, I think it was like a chip, it's just, zzz, oh, Kung Fu. So that's what happens when I see the quick tips that Mark is making. Respect, my man, full power. So if you go to Resolume YouTube channel or into their Facebook, they are releasing every Tuesday a quick tip, and sometimes it's like, is it Tuesday or what? When is Tuesday? And really fun to get these quick tips on Tuesdays. Let's now get on to making this mask. Okay, so right now it's just a black and white source. It will become a mask when we'll put it in the mask layer, but for now it's just a black and white source. So let's take the line Scape. So let's look inside here. There it is. Let's drop it here. Let's trigger it. So as you can see, it looks much different. Let me show it to you in full screen. It looks much different than the way I used to configure it. So let me now show you how it's made. So you take this linescape and you say, okay buddy, what's and who's. Let's get the lines wider. That's starting together. We don't need these knots, so let's disable them. That's nice. Let's see about the attenuation. Maybe we can up it a little bit. Line width, maybe we can push it all the way to 4. What is going on here? Maybe we can push the position a little bit. That's nice. Direction, we could leave it as is. And let's see about the wobble. Yes, I like it wobbly, please. And let's get the fuzziness a little bit lower. That's nice. We don't need jaggedness. The speed, actually we don't need it as well. So we already created this wavy pattern, and this is a part of our way to success. And once I got this, what I did is one of my favorite tricks, and that is to take the transform, our body transform. Such a simple effect, but so powerful. Check it out. I'm taking the transform and I'm pushing it upwards. Okay, pushy, pushy, pushy. We got somewhere here. That's a nice place. What I'm going to do now is to add the mirrors. So I will add a mirror, and I will also add a mirror. Oh, check it out. Did you just see how I created a source, a mask? A new mask is born. It's not new, I created it before, but this is a new one. This is a new copy, and you can Control Shift T, so we can get a visual representation of how it looks. The keys are Control Shift and T, or you can go somewhere here inside and update thumbnail. Yes, thumbnail, update, and this is the short. Control Shift T, and that's nice. So this is cool. What I wanted to do next is to animate. It's wobbly, it's nice, but let's see the original. It had something to do about being more audio reactive. So the way to do it will be to go for the height and play with this boing, 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 boing. So to animate it, again, it's quite a simple operation. You just click the BPM sync, and then we can add an envelope here, and in this envelope we could take these points and create something like this, and we could also make them a little bit more eased, and this could be nice. We could even make it faster to make it jump on the beat, and this is the way to animate it. I can use a preset. Here in the presets I have a preset that I can use. Maybe this time we'll choose something else. Let's choose Fall to the Floor, and we got a wobbly mask that is moving on the beat. I think out of enthusiasm I animated the wrong parameter. I wanted to animate the height, and that's why it's not bouncing. So if I will right click the speed now, it's cancelling everything that I did, and I wanted to animate the height. I just missed it in a couple of millimeters, and let's do it again. Just adding this BPM sync, adding an envelope, adding a envelope that is pre-made for me, or I can create them by myself, and let's see now how it reacts. That's nice. All right. So remember that until we put it inside the mask layer, it's not a mask, and then we can mask it and have some visual goodness in our show with this mask we just created. And this is us creating this mask. This is the second mask we created, and I hope that we have more understanding now of how to generate masks. Let's check out the chat and see what you think about it. Okay, so we're talking about compositions, and Mark is with you on the chat, and thank you, Mark, for helping us out and answering people's questions and letting me continue with my spiel. Okay, so let's go back into Resolume, and we are about to create another mask. Woohoo! Let's get a sip of water. Which one should be our next mask? I think this animated text will be our next mask. I think we'll have the animated text, and then we'll see how to animate logos. This is going to be an interesting thing for you as well. And this will be the two last masks that I will create in this session. So gather up and watch it closely. I'm going to use now another source in Resolume. Remember that we are using sources, and the source that we are about to use is a text source. Is a text sorcerers. So let's take the text so we can know who's and what's what. Let's close these and let's see what we have here. So what we have here is a animated text that is being animated on the beat. We have an external FFT here that is driving this. This is the audio that you are hearing. So if you look closely, this is the exactly. This is the equalizer of this music. This was the equalizer of this music, and let's go on and create it. So remember, if you want to create this text, most probably it will be in sources. Sometimes it's you can add a solid or a gradient and then use effects on it, and Chris from CVH Visuals he created a really nice React one set. It's free, and he created a lot of variations there using just the revealer. It was amazing to see. Chris, buyakasha for your work for the community. And where is the next tutorial, brother? I watched the 3 hours you made, and it was amazing. And I saw that you asked people what is the next, what is your next tutorial should be, and a lot of people said generative content. So I hope that you will make it. I will watch it. All right, let's get this animated text animator. I'm taking the text animator and I'm dropping it on the on my composition. So the text animator, when it's triggered, it just shows you the text that is here, and I can just for this instance I can just say yeah, blah 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 blah. For the now it will be okay, because we are going to use a gibberish font. So this font is a font that I used in Beat Reaction, in the pack Beat Reaction, and I really like it. It's called Visitor Script. And once I trigger it, looky, we have this weird text here. I see that it doesn't get well this thing. This whatever it's called. So I'll just add some more type here, and this is nice. So what I just did is quite simple. I just added whatever type I want, and right now I have this weird runes on my screen, but they are kind of still, and in order to animate them I will use the animate drop down menu here, and I will tick it, and let's see, it's something about the scale. See that I'm using the scale, and things are moving here, and Mark created a really nice quick tip on this that I recommend that you would watch. Maybe we can Mark put it in the description later of this clip, and of this tutorial, live session, masterclass, workshop thing that we're creating. And let's see how we get it to be reactive. It will be by, I've just played with these parameters here, and things are moving around, so it means that I can see some prospect here, and I will take this scale and I will use the clip, the external FFT, and let's see what's going on here once I use it. Right now I have a kind of a silence in the track, but if I will use the gain, let's put it on the lower, and let's wait for the music to come. Exactly. So right now, we have a mayhem going on here. Let's put the gain down a little bit. Yes. Okay. I see that it generates these letters. Let's choose instead of the order to be. Oh, I hope you heard me. But once I got this, just up the gain a little bit to get these. They have a name, something about equalizer, I think. Yes, equalizer. So I limited by pressing low. I limited to this part where the beat is, and then I just have them animated, but you see that they're animating in a wave. I don't want it. I want it to be in a random order. Let's maybe get the fall. And from here on, you just play with the settings, and you just adjust it to your liking. What I used here, I used a slide effect. Let's see what's going on here in the original thing. So I added a blur to get the mask a little bit more soft. I added a transform because I'm actually having this one text here, and then I'm sliding it, and then I'm scaling it up a little bit here on the scale. And I think I also created a bigger source because I wanted it to be to keep the quality, so I created a bigger source. I made a small text, and then I enlarged it, and this is how I created this this mask. So this was the next mask that we created together. And now let me show you how I take any logo. So this is our logo of STVinMotion, and if you're asking yourself, yes, it is someone that is doing this because he is in full power in the party. Ooh, you see, I just said full power, and it started to jump on me. So let's copy it and then close all of these parameters. So this is the original. This is how you will get it from your promoter or from your client. And as long as it is with transparency, which it is, this is a PNG, you will have an easy life. If not, you can use a mask, auto mask maybe. But what I did here is first I added levels. Levels are in L usually. Yes, and I just dropped them here. And what I did is I just crushed the midpoints and made it to be a black and white image. Okay, so if it was still staying green, it wouldn't be that useful for us because we need to have it black or white. Sometimes in life things are black and white, mostly not, but sometimes yes. So we got this, and now we're going to take the transform effect again. I'm going to animate the scale parameter, this, and I'm going to do the same trick I did with our friend the text animator. I'm just going to click it and tell it to use the external FFT. It opens up this drop down menu where I can see the equalizer, and well, we already were there. It's the same track after all. And ooh, this is a little bit crazy. Maybe we should limit the percent of how much it will grow. This is nice. Maybe we can make it go less small. This is also something that we can do. We can use the fall to make it more choppy, or make it less choppy and more smooth with the fall. And this is how you take any logo that you have and you bounce it to the beat, and you use it as a mask, and hopefully you are happy, your client happy, and you have satisfaction from your life as a VJ, and he can say that his logo is on the screen, and everybody's happy, right? Okay, I think that we are coming to kind of an end. Last, I promise you this will be the last source that I will show you, and this will be the end of our stream for now. And I want to show it to you because I like it so much. This is my favorite meatballs, or Metaballs. So I really like the wobbliness, or maybe blobbiness of this source. Really easy to set up. It's there in the sources. Just take it and use it. Let's find it in the source. Metaballs. Great Metaballs of fire. Let's close this clip. And let's see what we have here. We have here, it's quite innocent for now. Ooh, it's starting to get somewhere. So let's see how we can configure this to be more of a, you know, we need to have some kind of a balance between the white and the black, because if you use it as is, as masks, we will not see much of the visual, because remember, the white part of the mask is what is being shown. A little bit like alpha matte, I guess. So let's try and tweak it. Let's up the grid to 4, maybe get the size smaller. Yes, amazing. So we starting to get some nice action here. Fuzziness, it's nice. Speed, we can make it go faster. And what else we can do here? Maybe we'll up the scale a little bit. Okay, so again, this is a nice mask to use, and I wanted to go to the next level, and I wanted to use my friend, the transform effect, and I wanted to rotate, to make them rotate, and it will look nicer in my opinion. So you see here, it's where is it? It's rotating here. Okay, so I used the original effect here in the original clip. We can do it again, we don't need this one. So let's rotate it, and we see that we have these edges, and we already know by now how to remedy this. We have to go into the source and up the source size. We can go 4K, we can just maybe go a little bit less, we can go square if we want. 2500 by 2500 will mostly cover our edges of the screen, because we are in a HD, full HD 1080p. So I'm now going to rotate it by going to the rotation Z and clicking the timeline, and looky, it is rotating. We don't see these edges anymore. We can now adjust the size maybe, and maybe the distance, and maybe add some more fuzziness, or actually less fuzziness. And we created another mask that is made inside Resolume, that is really nice to use. I really like it. Let's see how it looks when I used it in the original here, and maybe we can use it with these clips, so something like this. Let me show you a full screen of it. So we have these blobs that are floating in the space, and the blobs are actually revealing that what we actually have here is an alternative dimension, that only people that took some very particular thing can see it, and we are very lucky to see it just with using sources inside Resolume. So this is it for our sources part of this tutorial, and I think that we can go now to your questions. Let's see if you have any questions that I can answer. If you have any questions left at all in the chat. So let's open the chat. Right. Nadia, do we have any interesting questions, or everything is in control?
Everything is there, but too late, I think. Too late.
Okay, guys, if you have any particular question to ask us, you can ask it now, or you can ask it later in the comments of this video, and we'll do our best to answer you and to support you, and to do anything we can do to push you forward in your visual journey. And by the way, talking about pushing you forward, I want to show you this Facebook group that we created. And this Facebook group is all about Resolume tutorials. Let's put it on the screen. Let me close some stuff here and let's go to our Facebook group. Check it out. This is the group with the most beautiful image that I know of. If you will have a look, we have this guy. He's sitting and he's using Resolume. He has the advanced output here and he has the user interface here, and
you just have some questions and
have questions. Nice.
You can see the main.
Okay, so have a look at this group. You are welcome to join here. We got Matt Osborne contributing really beautiful and really useful tutorials. We got Chris from CVH Visuals also contributing, and it's really fun to have quick tips of Mark that I'm sharing here. It's all about getting Resolume, your skills in Resolume to the next level. Join us. You can find it easily in Resolume tutorials, and let's make some happiness. Okay, let's go back to the chat. Now they said that we have a couple of questions there. So chat. How does grouping affect the mask? Oh, nice, Xylo. This is the next level, brother. So this is a really useful feature, the grouping. I think it's what you can do is you can create a group and then have more than one layer in this group, meaning like you have the mask and let's say 2 more layers, and then you can use the mask mode in I'll show you the feature. It's something that we didn't touch in this tutorial. Let's go back to Resolume. So you can use the mask mode in all below, and then you can perforate 2 clips together, and then you can the group will limit the effect of the mask. So the mask will be effective only of this group, and you can create more intricate stuff inside Resolume, and this is where the rabbit hole goes, and this is where you will go. I hope I explained it well. If not, tell me. Another question, James, where is it? Should all this be preset up before a gig? How much should be improvised on the night? JJ Holmes, I want to tell you a little bit of I don't know how to say it. It's a phrase. It's something that these fearsome warriors used to say in Sparta. The Spartans. The saying says they used to say, "Bleed more in training." Sorry, sweat more in training, bleed more in combat. So in a nutshell, I really believe that you should invest the time to create decks in Resolume, because when you will get to the club and the beat drop is coming again and again, and you are trying to set up this and set up that, no, this is not the way to work. You can have compositions made, and you can just go inside the composition panel and up and load the composition that is made, and this is really the way to go. I think again, sweat more in your home or in your studio, and you will bleed less in the club. And when I say bleed, I say whenever you miss the beat drop, this is a wound. So try not to bleed, and try to slide the music and surf it and be one with it, and not try to find new footage in the middle of your show and open this and drag them, and then no, this is not the way to go, in my opinion. This is only my opinion, but I think that you should prepare for a battle, for the combat, long ahead. Maybe it's something that happened to me in the army. I should ask some specialist about it. Okay, any more questions? Let's see, can we do 2 masked groups? Yes, we can do it. Let's try to do it. Do we have enough juice to do it? Let me show you. Thank you, JJ Holmes. I like you. I'm happy that you liked my answer. The Spartans, they knew what they were talking about. Thank you, Silo, for saying that this was a planned show. Yes, I did have an outline for this, and this is something repeating that I believe it. You have to prepare for battle, and then you will have better results in your life as well. Okay, let's try to do the grouping. Let's go back. We're already here. So let's go into grouping mode. Let's add a new group here, and now we have we can drag our layers into this group. So right now we have this mask layer. It's inside the group. Let's try to have it on a all below, and as you can see, it's not affecting the layers beneath it, and it's not affecting it because we are inside the group. And let me find a way to show it to you. Let's say that I will add this clip. Let's add this layer inside this group. So right now we have 3 layers on this group, and if we'll trigger a different clip, you see the mask is perforating both of them right away. So if I will mix between them, you see that now the mask is affecting 2 clips here. Okay, we got a mask. It's in group 1, and we can create intricate looks if we'll use it enables us to mix inside the mask. Okay, so we didn't have it all this time. We had just 1 clip inside the mask, but what we are having now are 2 clips inside this mask. Okay, so this group is self-contained, meaning it will not any mask that I'm putting here will not affect the rest of the stack. So I can create another group with a different mask, and then I can group it as well and have the masks inside them, and I can create interesting looks inside it. Just be careful not to create overloaded looks, because that's something that we VJs tend to do, We like sometimes to get too much technical, and we create something that is very difficult maybe to create, but it might be visually overloaded. So please keep this in mind. And this is the way you can use the groups and the masks. Of course, if we let's take it out of the group. If we are just using mask below, one below, we don't need the group because the mask will just affect this. But the grouping is a nice way to limit the effect of the mask. We can also, of course, trigger all of these clips with a different set of columns. So that's another advantage of this. I hope I answered your question. Let's see what else do we have on the chat. Meet the meatballs. Exactly, Philip. Exactly. Metaballs. How do I add your Facebook? I searched Resolume but didn't find it. Ask Mark Zuckerberg. Ooh. Wait. What's going on there? I have STV. Guys, this is what you see now is a reflection of how I feel. We have 10 o'clock in the evening here in our time zone. I think we'll have to end it soon. Let's wait, what? Who's? Yes. Okay, what else do we have on the chat? How does groups affecting the mask? I answered this. Okay. Righty, guys. In this, with this optimistic note, we'll have to end this live stream. I really appreciate all of you who came here. I had a really good time. I'm sure Nadia had a great time as well. Every good thing has to end in the end. So this live stream is ending as well. And I really appreciate your passion to be with us 2 hours and to dive into the mask mode and into generated masks. And I want to tell you that you are on the right path if you stay with us, if you watch this tutorial.
Music, give us some music.
Yes. Let's finish with a good chord and some visuals, of course. And thanks everybody for coming, and we hope to see you next time. If you like this tutorial, you can write it in the comments, and maybe we'll see you again. Boom, 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 boom. Let's go to get some visual goodness as we wrap things up.